does. We got it going, my friends. We're going GNCC racing today, and wow, what a way to end this one, no doubt about it. And I'm just glad that we made it to this point, and we are live on the World Wide Web here today as well as we welcome the masses along here to Palatka, Florida for the kickoff of 2016. The first time we've ever invited UTVs here to the great Sunshine State. And let me tell you, folks, with what we saw this morning in the ACE single seed races, this is the perfect combination for side-by-side racing. And you, my friends that are watching at home, and you, my friends that are here trackside, are in store for probably one of the biggest treats that you're going to have in 2016. It is the side-by-sides ready to tackle turn number one. We all keep an eye on Ricky Towery down in that first turn. 86 of these side-by-sides getting ready to roll. 33 of these guys are in the XC1 Pro class. Defending champion Kyle Cheney along with Bill Patterson, Tim Farr, Mouse Pratt, Travis Pointer, John Barnes, Marcus Pratt, John Yoakley, John Klentz, also Sean Bogdan, Paul Greenwood. We're looking at Kevin Trantham, Michael Swift, Justin Luptic, Clint Zettner, Devin Steedley, Bob Nether, Justin Fleming, Justin McCoy, Jamie McCoy, Richard Curley, and Ricky Towery walking up to give these guys Pete Libby, Andy Ives, Cole Secoy, Jerry Bowling, also Jason Luberg, Robert Boynton, Colton Moore, Cody Collier, Joey Reed, Stephen Matko, Tim Marshall, and Craig Greenwood. Shut them down, guys. We are now less than 30 seconds away from going GNCC racing. And I got to ask you, Florida race fans, for your first time to ever get to see this kind of racing here in the soils of Florida, are you ready to go? GNCC UTV racing! 10 seconds. And row number one, the XC1 Pro UTVs will be off and rolling. We're looking at Kyle Cheney, Bill Patterson, Tim Farr, Mouse Pratt here on row number one. And it is Cheney grabbing the early lead. That's, I believe, Tim Farr back in the number two spot. The number 5 car back there, Mouse Pratt in third. As we open up, as we look now to row number 2, we are going to be seeing the following cars taking off in less than 10 seconds now. Travis Pointer, John Barnes, Marcus Pratt, and Stephen Matko. Green flag flies on this one, and we are rolling. And it's a 591 car, Stephen Matko. Matko grabbing the lead there now. As we go to row 3, Kevin Trantham, Michael Swift, Pete Libby, Jerry Bowling, Zach Zakowski, Tim Marshall, and Craig Greenwood. Less than 10 to go for these guys now. And they're off. The 990 of Zach Zakowski getting off to a great start there. Moving down now to row number 4. We got John Yoakley, John Klentz, Sean Bogdan, Clint Zettner, Devin Steedley, Jamie McCoy, and Cody Miller all placed and ready to tackle that first turn now as they turn their attention to Ricky Towery. He says, 10 seconds. And row 4 will be off and rolling here in this UTV race. And it's the 422 car getting a great jump there. Cody Miller, but Miller's got company. The 33 car, Devin Steedley. They're side by side coming out of turn 1. And now it looks like the 422 car, Miller, is going to snag the early lead. We got row 5, Paul Greenwood, Justin Luptix, Cole Secoy, Jason Luberg, Robert Boynton, Colton Moore, and Jordy Reedy. And they're off, and that's right. When I said Colton Moore, that is X Games gold medalist, I believe, here with us. And Jordy Reed gets off to the early lead. Jordy Reed in the 522 car there. We got Bob Nether, Justin Fleming, Richard Curley, and Andy Ives in row 6 ready to go. Green flag flying on this one. Hey, we got one for sale, the 42 car. It runs pretty good, looks like. Got a pretty good jump. That's Bob Nether. Oh, maybe he's wanting to sell the car.
Wow, he's off in second place now, so that one is for sale. Let's go to row 7, Chris Brockway, Jonathan Powers, David Plavy. Off they go. Five car of the Triple Nickels. David Plavy taking the early lead. Drew Kreselich, Mike Jenkins, Seth Mitchell. Row number 8 getting set to roll next. And they're off. Row number 9, Chris Wolf, Hunter Miller, Rich Travelina, Chris Foy, and Christopher Hale. And Ricky Towery ready to these riders. 10 seconds. There they go. It's the 90 car. That is Hunter Miller grabbing the early lead, it looks like. Then we got row 10, John Henry, the steel driving man, Jamie Held, Mike Dunbar, Andrew Evans, and Rich Wheaton. 10 seconds. Oh, yeah, green flag waves on this, and you know that gets the heart pumping as much as anyone to wait for that green flag to fly. John Henry, the steel driving man, getting drove to the outside, it looks like, though, after a good jump there. No, he drives into the outside in that Coastal Racing car. So John Henry out front. He's a fast car driving man. Row 11, Daniel Jensen, Juliana Leo, Lucas Wilmiller, Josh Davis, Denny Aubrey, and Eric Gordon. The 1955 car. See what his GNCC number is. 417. That is Lucas Wimiller. Lucas Wimiller getting the lead in this, and this XC3 Pro-Am, by the way. We're down to row 12 now. This is Lights UTV, Dan McConaughey, Scott Townsend, and Brett Wingfield. They're off and rolling now. And I forgot, actually, row 7 were Chris Brockway, Jonathan Powers, and David Plavy, the triple nickel car. That started our XC2 Pro Sport class. That's row 12. That starts the Lights UTVs. Now this is row 13, Amateur Modifieds. From here on out, Bill Ross, Spencer Modlin, Brandon Hayden, Josh Lukdick, Darren Oakley, and Chad Moret. And we get ready for Mike Penland, Vicky Fowler, Wade Poole, also Chuck Quinton, John Higgins, Brent Kennedy, and David Wells coming up here shortly. This is Modlin, Rossini, Jeff Modlin, Justin Rossini, Scott Vetchery, Josh Skidmore, and Lawrence Sampson. Now is row 15, Mike Penland, Vicky Fowler, Wade Poole, Chuck Quinton, John Higgins, Brent Kennedy, and David Wells. Less than 10 seconds to go for these guys and gals now. And they're off. 505 car getting a great jump. David Wells there, an amateur limited class. We got the unknown team. Steve Golden, Paul Yerrickson, Austin Seelig, Daniel Hunyadi, and Troy Bigelow ready to go next. Amateur mods. Amateur limited, actually, I'm sorry. Penland, row 15, Penland Fowler, that was amateur limited starts. A lot of classes starting to be made for this realm of racing, a new realm and one that's offering a lot of excitement. So looks like we got one more row to go. This is our final row, the Austin, our amateur limited, August Agner, Jeremy Wallace, and Dakota Stewart. And the final 10-second wait before that green flag flies, and our final GNCC UTV row off and rolling as we begin to describe our pages in history with UTV racing now. And of course, with that, GNCC Live will continue here on RacerTV.com.
Any engine, any season, at home, at the track, or on the trail. AMSOIL for any engine. Maxxis Tires.
Here at Rocky Mountain ATV MC, our goal has always been to get you the best price and provide quality service. Now, we're giving you one more reason to shop with Rocky Mountain. We call it Quick Cash. It's simple to get. Just place an order with a qualifying Quick Cash item and get cash to spend on your next order. Try it out today. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser. Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best? The best. You have to have the best equipment under the hood. That's why I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket for those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
Daytona International Speedway is synonymous with four-wheeled action, but getting airborne on four wheels, well, that's a new experience. Come check it out on Tuesday afternoon with the second annual Fly Racing ATV Supercross right here at Daytona International Speedway. Come watch high flyers like defending series champion Chad Wienen, challengers like Joel Hetrick, Thomas Brown, and Jeff Rastrelli, and last year's Supercross winner John Natale this Tuesday right here at Daytona.
I'm just a lost soul that's made of paper, but your touch can color the white and bring back the beauty into my life.
They're right now completing their first lap. That being said, however, the first time they came around the announcer's tower, it was Kyle Chaney in the lead, followed closely by Tim Farr, the number 4 machine. So it's a new season. We're looking forward to seeing what this GNCC year will hold for us. And right now, we're off to a great start. As you can see on the TV monitor, we're full of sand. This is a one time a year race that we get to come all the way down here to Florida, and that we get to see the deep loamy sands here in Palatka, Florida. We've of course had GNCC tradition has been a long time down here in Florida, and we've moved it around at various locations and always start the season in conjunction with Bike Week there in Daytona. And Daytona is just a short 45 minutes, an hour drive, depending on how you drive. And so we're fortunate that we get to see a lot of people coming from Daytona and spending part of their Bike Week with us here in Palatka. This is the first time we've ever showcased the UTVs at this opening round for GNCC. And so far, from talking to the drivers, everybody seems to be very excited. Kyle Chaney, our series defending champion, was talking to him earlier, and he said that he went out and he walked the track yesterday, and he said, man, I got a lot of good ideas for what I wanted to do with car setup. And he came back, made some tweaks to his car, and went out to this morning after the 10 o'clock ATV race and came back in and said, man, my setup's way off. I'm going to have to make some adjustments. The course changed so dramatically, and all the drivers are saying, you know, as we go into this race, as the race progresses, even though it's an hour long, the track is going to change up so fast because the sand is so deep, the palmetto roots, the mud, everything's going to come into play here. And so it's, for years, it's been a tradition for ATV and motorcycle, dirt bike guys that you know, Florida, if we can just get through Florida, then we'll start the real racing down in Georgia. But the UTV guys are getting to experience this for the first time in UTV racing history. And as you see, it's getting rough already. And this is without even one lap complete. There are 86 cars on the course right now. Our course description at the starting line said that this was a 5-mile track, and you do the math. 5 miles, 86 cars. That's going to be a lot of traffic as this race unfolds, and so that's certainly going to come into play. A lot of the front runners in the XC1, the XC2 class have already been talking that, you know, lap traffic is going to be a consideration here in this fast Florida sand, and we'll get to see how that unfolds as this race goes forward. But right now, as we turn our attention to the RacerTV screen, we've got some beautiful shots of the sand whoops starting to develop here in the course as they come over this bridge and make that left-hand corner or right-hand corner and charge into the whoops. It looks like we already have one vehicle disabled. Can't quite get the number on that, but it looks like one of the Bikeman Can-Ams off in the trees there. And unfortunately, that's a sad truth of GNCC racing through the woods that to finish first you have to finish, and that is nowhere more true than it is in UTV racing. We're getting a good look at the 591 car there, making some moves. That's Stephen Matko driving that. He's being chased by John Yoakley. John Yoakley, for the first time, has moved over to a Can-Am machine, is running for Jack's Excavating. Said that he was calling some buddies during the off season and seeing what he could shake up, and Jack's Excavating, Marcus and Mouse Pratt said, hey, we have a car here for you. Why don't you come and do some testing with us? And he spent about 3 weeks up there testing with those guys, and he's down here showcasing the new ride here in Palatka, Florida, and making the car look fast on TV anyway. And we're anxious to see what the results are going to be as this first lap comes to a finish. Right now, the announcer's tower is right across from the finish line, and pulling my headphones off to see if I can hear them yet. Obviously, these machines make quite a bit of noise as they come through the trees, and we're anxious to see how this first lap is going to unfold, and waiting with bated breath just as you are to see who is in the lead right now. Will it be the Kyle Cheney leading as they took off from the start, and he was able to lead early on, but the number 4 of Tim Farr, he's got a lot of experience in the middle of the box. We know he's hungry, wants a championship. He's got a new passenger with him. Oh, let me break my monologue here, because it is the number 4 car coming into scoring, Tim Farr, with Alicia McCormick as his passenger coming through and taking first lap. Chased right wheel to wheel, Kyle Cheney and Chris Bithell, coming out of retirement from ATV racing, flew down here with just a carry-on bag and his fire suit in it. Came in to jump in with defending champ Kyle Cheney. So there are our first 2 drivers. And folks, the woods are quiet behind them. They have checked out with such a lead on 1 lap complete. I gotta say, they're miles ahead of 3rd place. This is going to be a Cheney-Farr battle. This is going to be this is definitely going to be a good race. This is certainly shaping up in the early stages here. This is shaped up. It was Cheney leading, then it was Farr in second. Now it's reversed around. And I'm joined by Matt Watson coming into the booth. We're not sure if, hey, it's round 1, and we're not even sure. Hey, you know what? People are walking by the booth here waving at me. I don't know if that means they can hear me or if I'm talking to myself, but we're calling a heck of a race right here, you know? Chuck, I got to tell you, absolutely amazing what's happening in the pine forest right now. 3 or 4 lines back through the pine forest, and a lot more trouble hang up in there, man. These guys navigate that stuff like pros. Rubbing so tired over there and making it happen. Well, that's good, because I haven't been able to get out and see what's actually going on the track, but sitting here watching the cars come out of the pines and into the scoring tower. I was just amazed at how far ahead the first 2 leaders were. We've got Tim Farr leading right now, closely chased by Kyle Cheney. He's a wheel length behind. And then Mouse Pratt is coming in 3rd place, 15.9 seconds, 16 seconds behind Kyle Cheney. Followed by John Barnes. Travis Pointer's in the 5th place position. And we're waiting on scoring to catch up with us here, and we can start reading off some of the top 10 names. But right now, it's quite an amazing race. Steven Matko, we mentioned him earlier, driving that 591 car. He's sitting right now in 6th place.
Traffic or anything on the first lap. All you can attest that to is a heavy right foot.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Those front 2 guys, Kyle Cheney and Tim Farr, of course, is leading this race right now. They checked out, and it seemed like an eternity before Mouse Pratt came around. Now that we're getting some live timing updates, interestingly enough, Cody Miller, the 422 out of Greenville, Texas, has checked in on adjusted time. Now, he started on a later row, either 2 or 3. He's checked in on adjusted time, is now running in the 3rd place position, 12 seconds behind Kyle Cheney. That's adjusted time. So we don't get to see that with our physical eyes, but the stopwatch knows.
Exactly. We had a similar situation this morning, 4x4 Pro and our schoolboy 14-15 class. You know, we had our schoolboys come from the 3rd row and cut into the leads of the 4x4 Pro guys on adjusted time, and sure enough, make the podium from about 3 rows back.
Yeah, I think John Glauda ended up winning that, didn't he? Didn't John Glauda end up winning that?
Yeah, John Glauda ended up 3rd overall this morning, led for 3.5 laps, got hit from behind, had a small hiccup with the lappers, but that young man come from row 3 to take the lead on adjusted time and held it for 3.5 laps. So impressive.
That's very impressive, especially here in the sand, because what people might not understand is that 3rd row is riding a 250cc 4-wheeler.
Right.
But anyway, to get back to our UTVs here, where we're running up to 1,000 cc's, and we've got multiple manufacturers this year. We've got Polaris, we've got Can-Am. Yamaha has stepped back into the game with their new YXZ machine. I've seen several of those down on the starting line, and we're looking forward to seeing who is really going to walk away from this with the win. And right now, it's looking like it's a Can-Am show. It's a repeat of what we've seen in the last couple years.
That's what it's looking like, Chuck. You've educated me a good bit on this class over the last couple seasons. It's been a lot of fun to learn these guys. But let me tell you something. These guys are fiercely loyal. I don't think there's a whole lot to do with the promotion and sponsorship money in this class as much as there is loyalty. These guys are like Ford, Dodge, Chevy. Okay, they believe in their car. They believe in their buggy, whether it be Yamaha, whether it be Can-Am, Polaris. I want to tell you something. You know, they're going to stick with that brand, I'm noticing, and they're going to do whatever's necessary to make that brand work because that's who they are.
Well, you know, there's also something to be said for car setup. These guys know what it takes to set up their vehicle, and that's why it's such big news that John Yoakley switched from Polaris to Can-Am, is because he had so much R&D into his previous machine, but he went with where he could get the support.
All those specs, all that knowledge kind of for naught right now by changing brands, because what you did to set that Can-Am up doesn't necessarily work on the Polaris, and what you did on the Polaris definitely isn't going to work on the Yamaha. So kudos to him.
That Yamaha is such a new animal. Right now, our top running Yamaha is in the 7th place position. It's driven the 222 machine of Cole Secoy out of Hopewell, Ohio, is our top Yamaha right now. And that, again, that's a brand new machine for this year. They just came out with that late last year, so R&D and aftermarket parts are pretty scarce on that machine. But right now, it is the Can-Am show, as Can-Am is holding down the top 5 positions. We got Tim Farr leading, Kyle Cheney in 2nd, Cody Miller in the 3rd place on adjusted time. David Plavy, the triple nickel of David Plavy, is holding down the 5th place position. And it looks like on TV here, we've got 2 teammates just hanging out in the field.
That looked like Coastal Racing to you? That looked like a couple black, white, and yellow machines there.
Yeah, it was. I didn't
catch exactly what was happening there.
I was trying to figure out what they were doing. They parked side by side. Are we getting ready for a drag race, or what are we doing?
Hey, Chuck, I've got to imagine just like the bikes and the UTVs, Florida's going to have its own unique set of challenges for a UTV to get the rebound and the suspension set up for long sand whoops, for washboard straightaways and that type of thing. So it's got to be just as much or more of a challenge. Once again, those teammates there look like they were getting ready to have a picnic, getting ready to lay out a blanket there, looking underneath the UTV. So, but I think to sum it up, might be twice as hard to dial the UTV as a quad or a bike.
Well, I think so, just because this is still a new genre of racing. I mean, if you've followed trophy trucks at all, you see that they've got 24 inches of travel, and they go through these sand whoops like it's nothing. They've got really slow rebound, and their suspension. So we don't have 24 inches of travel, but we have a 1,400-pound car. And so getting your suspension to work slow enough on these deep whoops without packing up and pitching your back end over your front end is a real challenge. And so the suspension experts have loved doing this. They love working on this kind of stuff, but there is an art to it, just like there is, it's an art and a science all combined.
No question about it. You mentioned the trophy trucks and guys like Walker Evans and Parnelli Jones and all those guys. They spent years making the original designs of the very trucks guys are racing today. And it's just evolved, much like this is going to. Can I tell you, Chuck, I'm very excited to see the future of the UTVs, because I'm telling you, the technology is so close to a trophy truck that it's just going to blow your mind. There's another one of our picnickers right there on the side of the track. Might be looks like we've got a differential or an axle problem there.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And, it comes into play at every UTV round is that you've got to make these things last the whole hour. You got to stay off the trees. You got to be careful of these whoops. These deep whoops that you can dive into will actually break steering components if you hit it too hard. I mean, you've got a lot of force behind 1,400 pounds of equipment.
Yeah, the folks at home don't realize the leverage. When you catch that wheel, you're not catching the wheel on a 300-pound sport quad. You're catching the wheel on 1,500 pounds, pushing that momentum through. So guess what? We're going to bust a hub. We're going to bust a ball joint. We're going to bust, Things certainly normally don't just bend on a UTV.
When UTVs first came out, people had to learn how to not break their thumbs, because if they were driving with their thumbs in the steering wheel and they'd catch something, that steering wheel would jerk and break the thumb, snap the thumb right there.
Chuck, that's amazing. As you know, I've got about 25 years of dealership experience and when even the very first rhinos and mules and stuff come out, guys were using them maybe for things they weren't intended for, but when they got down in that rut, or when they came up out of that creek crossing below the barn, boom, next thing you know, it's things spinning on them. So a whole different technique of driving, even a different technique for the navigating and the spotter and stuff in there than you're going to find in any other type of racing. So very much so a new element here in GNCC, and the progression in 2 years is just blowing me away.
Well, the progression that we've seen in the last 2 years is amazing, and that's thanks to the manufacturers stepping up. We've had a lot of aftermarket companies stepping up, but they can only do so much with the platform that they're given by the manufacturers. And Yamaha started this whole deal back in 2004 when they introduced the Rhino, and that was such a revolutionary vehicle. And by 2008, Polaris had come out with the Razor. 2008, GNCC had a 4-round UTV series, and that's where I came in. I stepped up and was racing the Yamaha Rhino of all things.
And that had a 660 at the time.
Oh,
that was the early model.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Actually, I think the 700 had just come out. The fuel-injected 700 had just come out. Raced a bone stock one of those things. Had a ton of fun. But since then, GNCC said, if we're going to do this, we've got to do it right. We got to have fire suppressant. We got to have fire extinguishers. Got to have roll cages. There's a whole list of
fuel
things.
cells,
So you don't just buy one off of a showroom floor and go race it. There's a lot of money to invest, and to see that we've gone to 86 entries here in 2016 of people that are spending this kind of money on their machines speaks well to how this sport is going.
Yeah, and on the other side of that, the manufacturers, mainly being Polaris, of course, the first to do it, have also give you an alternative. For $8,500, you can buy a Polaris Ace. You can get automotive controls. You can get full roll cage, side-by-side feel for $8,500, Chuck. The same MSRP as a CRF 450.
Yeah.
As a YZ 450F. You can get out there and show. So outside of these mega multi-dollar machines you're seeing here that do resemble trophy trucks, you can come out and get started, have as much fun as anybody for the same price as a basic two-wheeler.
Now, that's a good point that you bring up, because we do have the ACE race going on here at GNCC, and that happens at 9:30 in the morning, and I think it's 9:30, isn't it?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, there we go, yes. 9 o'clock on UTV race weekends, we do race ACEs.
One more way that the manufacturers are embracing GNCC and making a product specifically designed for the needs. And you know what? It doesn't matter what your physical abilities are, what your limitations are, whatever. Anybody can drive one.
That's right.
So, it doesn't matter if you're 16 or 76. Your ability to get in and have fun is equal.
Well, I think that you bring up a good point that the UTV has opened doors for many people. Right now, we are finishing up our second lap. I see Kyle Cheney checking through our finish line there. And we go to live scoring to see that Kyle Cheney is indeed leading this race physically, and obviously with adjusted time as well. But we want to know, where's Tim Farr?
Yeah, good question. Expect to see him up here in the lead group, no question about it. And yet to see him right now.
Yeah, now Tim was leading the first lap. The completion of the first lap, Tim Farr was leading. He had Alicia McCormick, women's ATV racer, was riding shotgun and calling lines for him. And right now, I see that it looks like Tim Farr and Alicia McCormick have fallen off the pace as we haven't seen them come through yet.
Yeah, a lot of variables out there, and nobody more experienced, of course, than Tim Farr. So got a great co-driver in Alicia McCormick, but no one immune to the tight trails and the deep sand.
That's it. The guys were talking on the starting line that it started out as a wide trail, but by the time the ATVs were done running, the ruts were so narrow that this was going to be a narrow trail. And those ruts, as you already said, those ruts can grab your wheel and cause all kinds of mayhem, and even the best of the best are not immune to this, as we see that we're looking for Tim Farr right now.
Just leading into the forest back here, the wagon ruts, a couple of these stock machines actually bellied out because the wagon ruts were so deep. These machines you mentioned have 16, 18 inches of travel. They're sitting up a bit higher, but some of the stock machines just going down the straightaway having trouble as deep as these ruts really are.
Oh, for sure, and that's going to be mayhem back in the novice classes where they're running the Polaris 800s and even some of the old Kawasaki Terexes and Yamaha Rhinos. Those things just don't have the same clearance. Right now, we are getting an updating from our live scoring. And we're already into lap traffic, so it's very difficult to see as we sit here and watch. We see cars coming through, but there's already lap 2. We're into lap traffic already. So we got Kyle Cheney leading. Looks like Bill Patterson has jumped up into the second place position.
Right.
Tim Farr has checked in. He's checked in the third place position. He is 1 minute and 30 seconds behind Kyle Cheney, it looks like. And Bill Patterson is 1 minute and 27 seconds behind Kyle Cheney. So this is Kyle Cheney's race today.
Question about
All
it.
he needs to do is put it on cruise control at this point, stay out of the lappers, stay off the trees, out of the palmetto roots, and just put her on cruise control and bring her home. He's got the biggest lead I think I've ever seen in my career for calling these things.
And Chuck, we're over halfway through. I mean, here we are at the 33-minute mark or so, about halfway through this thing, and holy cow, to watch that kind of lead develop, that's amazing to me.
That's only 2 laps, so this is going to be a 4 or 5 lap race. It looks like that they're 1 hour races, and time elapsed is 31:56 right now. We'll have to call race control and see how many laps they're expecting, because sometimes these things go up to 10 laps.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody gets
absolutely.
dizzy, but you can see that these laps are taking a little while. Our lap times are 12:19 right now.
I was trying to see
12 times 5, that'd be 60. So no more than 5 laps that we're going to get into this race.
So
Kyle Cheney ran a 12:19, and it looks like Bill Patterson just somehow laid it down this last lap and got a 10:56 or 10:55.
Wow, incredible! Amongst a bunch of tough drivers. Now Tim Farr showing in the 4th position right now
on adjusted time.
Didn't see him come through that time, did you?
I didn't see him, but like I said, there's so many lap cars that it was difficult to see, but live scoring did catch him. He's down in the 4th place position. Cody Miller is checked in now out of Greenville, Texas on the 422 machine, and he is in 2nd place right now. So there's Kyle Cheney, and Cody Miller is behind by 31 seconds, at 31.8 seconds. So Kyle Cheney doesn't quite have the lead that I was talking about earlier. Cody's eaten into that, but Cody, let's see here. Cody Miller had a 12:42 lap time. That Bill Patterson somehow laying down a 10-minute and 55-second lap time. That guy, I got to tell you,
sub 11 minutes, man.
He came out of nowhere to me last year. I was on the podium like, oh man, I forget this guy's name. I just couldn't remember. he has made me regret that ever since because this guy can drive.
Forget it. He's
What's
not
that?
letting you forget his
No,
name.
he won't let me forget it. He's like, hey, and the way he's driving, how could you forget Bill Patterson? This guy, his driving is just come on so strong in the middle of last season, and he's opening up this season with such a fast lap time. He's sitting in the top 3 position right now. Tim Farr is apparently right on his heels, and Tim Farr has the experience, and he's going to know how to get that position back. I'm sure he's hungry to get it back.
Oh, no
so
question.
It's going to be a little while. Maybe our RacerTV crew can pick up something out there in the woods. Maybe we'll get to see some of the action here, but on a 5-mile course, you just never know where that's going to happen. And so sometimes we get lucky, and sometimes we don't.
Well put. Sometimes we get lucky, sometimes we don't.
Yep,
Chuck says.
That's a good shot right there. It looks like Kyle Cheney, even though I suggested he put it on cruise control, it doesn't look like he has any intention of doing that. Looks like he is on rails right now. He's coming through the open sections there, and boy, look at that car just hooking up. The dust pouring out behind him, and he's just not slowing down for anything. We saw him pass a lapper there in the open, and Kyle Cheney. This again looks like we've got a switch out of seats here as we welcome Rodney Tomlin back to the announcer's tower.
Wow, what a day, man. I'll tell you this much right now. It's an opening day for me, but everything else has gone so smoothly, man. The racing has just been off the charts. We get things started out here in this UTV race. I really haven't been able to keep up with it as much as I want to, but man, you got to look at these names. These are a lot of the same names I saw at the front of the pack when they took off when that green flag flew, and a lot of, well, Cheney trying to pick up where he left off last year, I think.
Yeah, well, the way it's going, Rodney, is that they came through off the start. Cheney was in the lead, followed by Tim Farr. They came through at the end of one lap, and Tim Farr was leading, and Kyle Cheney was right on him. They came through this lap, and Tim Farr was nowhere to be seen. It was Kyle Cheney, had a minute and a half ahead of everybody, and then on adjusted scoring, Cody Miller popped up in the second place position, Bill Patterson, and Tim Farr. So Tim is still out there. Obviously, he had a challenge somewhere.
Yes.
But hopefully he's overcome that, and he's still out there running in the 5th place because David Plavy just checked in.
David Plavy, the 555, the triple nickels in the XC2 Pro Sport class. He got the whole shot on that first row of the XC2 Sport class. And obviously it looks like he hasn't looked back at this point, man, because he is still rolling. Plavy up to the number 3 spot. Bill Patterson running in 4th. Tim Farr is now 5th. John Barnes in 6th. Mouse Pratt in 7th. 8th place Jonathan Powers. 9th place Kevin Trantham. Justin Fleming rounds out the top 10. And I'm sorry if I'm talking double talk about what you guys have already talked about, but Chuck, I know we're about 37 minutes or so into this race now, but one thing that I got to point out, when I went down onto the starting line for the start of this race, I had a jaw-dropping moment, honestly. Number one, at the amount of cars, nearly 90 cars on that starting line looked huge. And then the crowd that surrounded it, sometimes I'm beginning to think that UTV race has drawn a pretty big crowd, and it's getting close to those afternoon numbers that we see sometimes. It's pretty cool, I think.
Isn't that amazing?
That is.
We were talking about the number of entries, but yeah, the crowd, you're right. People are into this. This is a fun race to watch.
It is.
There's always a lot of action.
And you never know what's around each turn or what's coming around each turn. These cars are so much fun to watch. The drivers, they develop personalities out there while they're driving. You know, I mean, you can tell it when they're driving their cars, how they drive. And thing these race fans are starting to pick up on it also, I believe.
Oh, I think you're right. And of course, when you come to the GNCC Racing Nation, we're all race fans of everything. And, you know, the bike guys come early and watch the ATV guys. The ATV guys stay late and watch the bike guys. And so now it looks like UTV racing has become a legitimate sport.
Oh, yeah, it most certainly has. You're starting to see it pop up in different realms and different genres of racing across the land. You're seeing it at a lot of the ATV motocross markets. You're seeing it in a lot of different places, and I think it's neat. And I think something else is neat is the single seat that they came up with, Polaris Ace, a year ago, and one of the drivers from the single seats, Jesse Strawham, is joining us here today. I want to say welcome back to Jesse. Folks might remember her story. Remember, it's only been a little over a year now since she had that horrible accident, but in that year's time, Chuck, I think she's lived a lifetime by comparison to what she did beforehand. She was named the GNCC Ambassador for 2016, and she joins us now here on GNCC Live, and we say, hello, Jesse Strawham. Welcome. So glad to have you. I don't know if that mic should be working, but for whatever reason, they might not have it up.
Here, Jesse, let me hand you my headset.
Yeah, so, but, all right. How's that?
Oh, that's great.
All right, you can hear me, I can hear you. So welcome back to GNCC Racing, Hun. I know you had a very eventful off-season, winter season, and I don't mean off in a negative way, just off from racing, because you were named GNCC Ambassador, and you've been doing some pretty cool things. Other than your single-seat racing in the Polaris Ace, I understand that you've been doing wheelchair MX.
Yeah, you go to a skate park and you actually flip your wheelchair is the ultimate goal, but you do tricks in it, and it's pretty gnarly.
So you're like doing like BMX tricks in a wheelchair then, huh?
Exactly. I go to the skate park with skateboards and BMX bikes, and we go out there and tear it up together. All the kids love to see me. They think it's just awesome that I'm a girl in a wheelchair. They're like, oh, you're going to be like Wheels, and you're going to flip that thing, right?
Yeah, and that's an inspiration for you as well. I mean, Wheels from Nitro Circus Tour is a great inspiration, I think, for anybody that is in a situation such as yours. And I just got to commend you, man. I just can't believe the positive energy that you exude since that time. I mean, you've made so many strides and so many gains. And for those of the folks that, again, want to be refreshed on the story, you had the accident, you had a cutting-edge technology surgery, which may actually help you walk again someday, right?
Yeah, the goal of the surgery is to reconnect the nerves and make you walk again, essentially make the firing signals from your brain go back to your legs.
And we're seeing some positive results right now, right?
Yes, the most recent is about 2 weeks ago. We put some weights on my ankles and sent me walking in the pool with just the weights and a walker.
No way, you were actually walking?
Yeah.
In the pool, I realized, but that is amazing. That's Chuck, that's a miracle right there. She's a miracle girl.
You know,
I believe that.
The power of prayer and just God's plan has given me an awesome opportunity.
Well, talk about turning lemons into lemonade, man. That's what Jesse has done, and that's some of the sweetest lemonade I've had the chance to sample. That's good, tasty stuff, man. You're really exuding, I think, a good positive energy, and you're making everybody around you feel good, Jesse, and I appreciate that. And how'd you do this morning in your single-seat race?
Well, we got off to a little bit of a rough start. Today was my first time in it since it's been built. Last year I raced a 570. We switched to the 900 this year. I hit the kill switch button, shut the machine off, hurried up, hit it again, started it, kicked my power steering out. So I did the first lap with no power steering, and the entire race I'm trying to think, how am I going to tell my manager that I can't race this thing because I can't steer it? And then I stopped in the pits. They're like, turn it off and turn it back on. I was like, oh, that's better.
It's amazing just how simple something is. Well, Jesse, it's good to see you out here, hon, and I can't wait to see you with more. When's the next UTV race?
Big Buck in South Carolina.
So round 4. It'll be a few rounds
before
we see you again.
I will most likely, depending on weather, be at Steel Creek. That's about an hour from the house.
Yeah, that's your home stomping grounds. Well, Jesse, so glad to have you out here with us, and we wish you all the continued progress and more continued exciting things. Like we said, you just now started. You've lived a life in the last year that you never knew existed.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's been amazing. I do have to say my clothing line actually went live about 30 minutes ago.
Oh, really? You got a new clothing line. Tell me a little bit about that real quick.
So I created a logo. It's a girl in a wheelchair with an off-road helmet, and then our quote is "Let's roll." And so We post that on justifiedcultures.com. There's men's and women's, and the proceeds go back to spinal cord injury patients.
That's awesome. Jesse?
Always giving back.
That's it, always giving back. Honey, what's that website again to get those shirts and help?
Justifiedcultures.com.
Justifiedcultures.com. That's awesome. Well, thanks, Hunt, for stopping in and talking with us. We really appreciate it. And looking forward to what the future holds for you. I can't wait to see you walk into a GNCC someday.
I can't wait. They said they're going to continue to build my machine higher and higher, so eventually I have to stand to get into it. It's good to see you guys as always, though. I'll see you at hopefully round 3.
All right. We'll see you at Steel Creek Hunt. That's Jesse Strawham again. An inspiration to any and everybody, I think. Honestly, Chuck, just a great individual, a great fighter, and I could be honest with you, I would almost have to believe and think that I would be nowhere near the condition that she's in mentally, let alone physically right now.
Well, I got to agree with you. I also get to do, in addition to this, I get to do the Tuesday Toolbox interviews for the website, and was able to interview Jessie a few weeks ago and was just really impressed with her outlook on life. And of course, she said that part of it was giving her life over, turning her life, the control over her life over to God, and did that just like a day or two before the accident, and gave her life to Christ, and that's really made a lot of difference in her life and the way that she handles this. And so, as the trackside preacher, I was thrilled beyond belief to hear that. And
that's a great testimony.
Can't wait to share that story with other people too, because it's such an inspirational story.
I agree wholeheartedly. Hey, we got 3 laps down by our leader Kyle Cheney, just checked in moments ago. Also, well, about 4 minutes ago, Cody Miller checked in behind him. It looks like 2 minutes and 18 seconds now. As we update the situation, we are almost 45 minutes into the race. I think we'll be racing somewhere in the neighborhood of an hour, and we will have this race day for the first day of racing. This has been a lot jammed in our first day. 5 races, believe it or not.
Oh, that'll wear a guy out. That'll wear a whole team out. You know what this means, though, Rodney, is that Cody Miller is checked in the second place position, he's in second place position, 3 laps complete. Previously, we've had to wait to see Cody check in because it's been on adjusted time, and he's still on adjusted time, but physically, he's in the second place position.
Well, look at his lap time right there. He turned a 12:48.5. Kyle Cheney a 13:04, so he turned about a good close to a 12-13 second faster lap there. And
Bill Patterson, the lap before, Bill on the first lap, the end of the first lap was like in 12th place. He turned a 10:55 and got up into the top 3, and then some time adjustments came through, and he dropped back down to like 4th place.
Wow.
So it'd be interesting to see what he can turn, but Bill started on the first row. So if he's in it, he ought to be checking in.
Yeah, and he sounds like he found the hidden secret line around here, that fast line. You know, they used to joke around about that. There was a fast line at Loretta Lynn's motocross, and I guess you say that jokingly, but at the same time, there really is. I mean, you just got to figure out what it is. Hey, Michael Swift is checked in now. Time adjustment puts him up into the number 3 spot. Kevin Trantham, the number 20 car, is now 4th after time adjustments from that XC1 Pro UTV class. But David Plavy is back at it. Plavy, the 555 triple nickels, as we say. Elderton, Pennsylvania's XC2 Pro Sport class leader, is 3rd place overall right now. Jason Luberg out of Zanesville, Ohio, former top motocross star, is running in the 4th place position. Luberg used to race ATV motocross back in the early 2000s, late 90s. He was a big name there for many, many years. Michael Swift now dropped to the number 5 spot. We got Kevin Trantham in 6th. John Allen Yoakley in the number 11 car has dropped now to 8th place. He was 7th, but Jamie McCoy, the 70 car out of Kingsport, Tennessee, actually was able to get things going there on time adjustments and take over the position. But one thing I want to point out, Tim Farr all the way back, and he hasn't checked in yet, but he's in the XC1 Pro UTV class on row 1. He's back in 11th overall after time adjustments, still not checked in for his 3rd lap, and let's update this and see.
Neither has Bill Patterson.
And, wow, that's...
Oh, I hear that Yamaha out there shifting gears.
Yeah.
Even if it's not in the top 10, it's still cool to hear.
It is. John Allen Yoakley, just want to let you folks know the 11 car made some big changes this year.
Yes.
He's moved over to the the Mouse Pratt and those guys.
Yeah, to the Jack's Excavating
so
team with them. We were talking earlier on the starting line, and he said that he was just trying to figure out what to do for this season, and called up a couple of his buddies, Mouse, and they said, hey, we got a car. Why don't you come up here and test it? So he spent 3 weeks dialing that car in, and it's all new for him to switch from Polaris to Can-Am, but says that he's loving it.
Yeah, and if you've noticed, William Yoakley, one of the OGs, if you will, of UTV racing, not with us this year, and I'm not real sure about the program, that if he's working on a program or if and when he'll be back. I'm sure that William has a lot going on. He's got a family and he's got a life, and
got a job and a career, and it's been tough to. You know how it goes. It's tough to make it to these races.
It is.
I think he's taking a break this year, and that's the official word. He's taking a break.
Well,
next year, we'll see.
Well, you think about it. That boy's been racing. He's what, mid-30s easy, maybe pushing close to 40 by this point. And he's been racing since he's been coming to the races since his brother John Yoakley used to race. So he's been coming for a long, long, long time. And maybe going to the races, a break might do him some good.
It might be nice to not drive 2,000 miles every weekend.
Well, Cheney's still leading. Let's break them down class by class. And I know our computer is real slow. It's something about this first round of the year. Everything is moving slow. And we're trying to
because
get...
they put it directly in the sun.
Yeah.
For those that can't see us, the announcer's booth is directly in the sun. And
that might be part of my doing. I should have paid attention to where the sun was when we set this thing up, I guess.
Well, it's always fun to blame somebody, Roddy.
Yeah, I had to blame myself on this one. That's
Bummer.
not the fun part. Yeah. You know, good round of racing. You got a good, healthy contingent of racers. This is good positive energy for me as well for the UTV scene here in the 2016 season. And I had the XC2 Pro lights pulled up, and then it just switched.
Looks like we've got some carnage in the woods here.
Is that Flavie?
Well, I see a 5, but I only see 1 5.
Yeah.
The trees are covering up the number plate, but
we got people out of the cars standing around.
Yeah, that doesn't look good. We had somebody blow a belt right here at the finish line a little bit ago when you were interviewing Jesse. I heard him go by, and then the spin and the dead stop, and it happens.
Good. Well, I'll tell you, David Flavie and Joe Kreselich have checked in the XC2 Pro Sport class, and we're waiting now on the third place driver in that class, which will be Jonathan Power, Seth Mitchell in 4th, Richard Travalina in 5th. John Henry, who actually got the whole shot, is 6th. Brian Riggs in 7th. Jamie Held is 8th. Chris Brockway at 9th. Richard Nolan rounds out your top 10 in the XC2 Pro Sport UTV class. We move to the XC3 next. Yeah, it's getting pretty, the sun getting pretty low there. So Lucas Weihmiller, the 417, got off to the early lead, and that's where he's at after 2 laps. He had a 16-second lead over Brett Wingfield. 777, Josh Davidson 3rd, 825. Denny Aubrey is 4th place. 5th place, 911, is Eric Gordon. In 6th place, 388, Leo Juliana. And 7th place, the 77 of Daniel Jensen. That is XC3 Pro-Am UTV. Now, as we take a look at our next class. Got Scott Townsend, Dan McConaughey running 1 and 2 in the lights UTV class. And actually Townsend in with 2 laps complete. We're still waiting on McConaughey to check in here momentarily. Leaders due in some 16.5 minutes in that class. Lights UTV, Lawrence Sampson leading in the 570 car out of Bloomsburg, PA. The 412, Darren Oakley out of Franklin, Ohio is 2nd. 1, 2, 3, Justin Rossini, Sunbury, PA zone, is running in 3rd. Scott Beckery, the 149 out of Hiram, Ohio. I think he's an ATV motocross, comes from the ATV motocross background. He's the 149 car in 4th. In 5th place, the 116 Spencer Modlin out of Omaha, Nebraska. Chad Morit in 6th place out of Cumming, Iowa. 7th place, 333, Josh Skidmore from Fairmont, West Virginia. And 8th place, Jeff Modlin out of Papillion, Nebraska. That's your amateur modifieds, and I believe we might have one more.
Yeah, I think we got the amateur limited to go through.
They still got troubles down there in the woods. I figured they'd have had that cleaned out by now, but it doesn't look like.
They're roping it off.
Hey, we got Fred Andrews, Thad Duvall, and who else was that? GQ. Yeah, the GQ boys out there.
GQ? You call him GQ? DQ.
DQ.
David Quillen.
Yeah. GQ. Okay, David Quillen. They're getting ready for the big Moose dinner tonight. They're rolling over the grub that we're going to be serving up over here at the Moose Transporter, I believe, this evening. It's going to be good. Welcome back dinner. Get to break bread with your ATV and off-road racing brethren there. I believe.
Looks like we did pull up the amateur limited UTV results here. And if I'm reading that right, it looks like Wade Poole is leading it with John Higgins in second place. Our famous or infamous Mike Penland, who the grandfather of this whole sport, is running in third place in this thing. Actually, Mike's a great guy.
Papa Penland.
Yeah, don't tell him we said that. He's going to go home and watch this and say, those guys. Mike's a great guy. If you recall the name, he started racing utility ATVs back in the day, and look at us now.
He is the icon of the sport as far as I'm concerned.
He's followed in fourth place by Dakota Stewart. Fifth place is Brent Kennedy. Honorable mention, Vicky Fowler's out there. That's our ATV. Pro ATV. Walker Fowler's mother is out there racing in that class. Looks like she's got one lap complete, so we're waiting on her to check in for a second lap right now.
For sure. And looks like Erickson running in 6th, Troy Bigelow is 7th, David Wells in 8th, Stephen Golden 9th, and Austin Seelig rounds out your top 10 as we take a look back up front. We should be getting close to seeing these guys check in. Are we seeing any white flags or anything? 2-lap card is out. I think it's been out for a while. White flag maybe in about 2 minutes. Megawatt saying you got your thumb on the pulse of this action, do you not? Megawatt on the spot. Now I'm putting the pressure on. All right, Kyle Cheney, it says 13 minutes here, but regardless.
Not responding is what it actually says.
Yeah, it does say not responding. You're absolutely right. So it's probably closer to like 30 seconds. Okay, all right, well then we're good. Yeah, we've got slow link.
Yeah, this is going to end up being a 5. Okay, there's the white flag.
Yep, there it is.
Kyle Cheney's coming
through.
through.
You were so right, Megawatt. Megawatt on the
heels
spot.
of the lapper, it looks like.
That's it. But it's nice to be right sometimes. So right now, Cody Miller still waiting to see how he is advancing. If you remember last time around, he gained a little bit of time, moved solidly into the number 2 spot, and actually it turned 15-second or so faster lap than Kyle Cheney the previous lap. But the gap, 2 minutes and 18 seconds, 15, 20 seconds, not going to do a whole lot of good unless Cheney slows his pace down. And according to timing and scoring right now, I mean, we're looking at a 13 lap time. He did slow his pace down some, but he was in some
a lot more
pretty
lap
thick
traffic. The ruts are deeper. The track is a lot rougher than it was.
Yeah, and he was in amongst a lot of guys coming through when that white flag flew. So I got to think, had that not been for that last little section right there with those lap drivers in front of him, he might have actually been into the 12-minute mark somewhere.
Yeah, very possible. And props to our referee, Ricky Towery there. You know, all these cars are covered in sand and mud, and nobody knows who's what. And Ricky, he always knows, always has that flag out at the right time, and he knows what's going on out there.
Yes, he does. Got to commend our fabulous finish line flagger and obviously our official start man, Ricky Towery. He is certainly one person that it seems like everybody in the world of off-road racing knows. They know, they recognize Ricky's face, and they probably study him about as much as anybody gets studied.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've heard people say when he's as solid as a rock. I'm a racer also, and you know I tried to see when's he going to throw that flag. You don't know. He has no tell.
No. There's some people that think they can tell, but the thing about it is it changes up every time.
It does. He's good at what he does. Now, I wanted to point this out. With Cody Miller, on the last lap, he was 2 minutes and 18 seconds behind Kyle Cheney. I don't think I've ever seen a lead that great.
You know, now that you mention it, you're probably right because, wow, Yeah, we're normally looking at 30 seconds. If we see 30 or 40 seconds,
we get excited.
Yeah.
This is over 2 minutes.
Wow, what's that got to say for Kyle Chaney? But how about this? Cody Miller just popped it under 2 minutes.
Okay.
He went from 2:18 behind to 1:55 behind, a 12-minute, 50-second lap time. So he got 23-second faster lap that time than Kyle Chaney.
That's good.
That's good.
Kyle Chaney, I don't know if Kyle Chaney knows he's got that big of a cushion.
Right. But Kyle Chaney did all the work that he needed to do in the early part of the race and got that buffer zone. And at this point, if he just maintains steady pace, Cody Miller is going to have to basically be able to vaporize from one side of the track to the other. He's going to have to find a wormhole out there or something.
Yeah,
to ride
something.
Through.
Something. But
and I don't mean one in the ground either. There's the number 1 car. There's Chaney making his way. That would be, I think, out by that 6 mile or so mark from earlier
making his
in the
way
day.
through the sand whoops and back into the pine trees. And
man, look at that. The track is rough. Look at the sand flying. Yeah, the car is dragging there. Look at that, getting high-sided and some of that. So you know, look at that. That's starting to throw some steam out of it. I was going to wonder, that's got to push those machines harder. I was wondering if that would also affect engine running temperatures, the way they're having to push them so hard.
Well, when you're pushing it this hard, we've got a beautiful 70-degree day, so our outdoor temps aren't all that great, but you get into a mud hole and somebody in front of you, most of these guys are running their radiators on the back so that they don't get roosted by the guy in front of them and pack the radiator up. So they really shouldn't be having too much problems with overheating. But you never know. That sand is so fine, and you're driving through it. It's easy to plug those radiator fins.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of different elements to take into consideration here. I think, Chuck, because like you said, these UTV guys are racing, at least in GNCC conditions, for the first time in sand. So a lot of them may not be accustomed.
That's brand new to UTV racing, and most of these guys, they probably don't know that they ought to be running the skin over top of that radiator. Because they haven't had to race in sand before.
Well, they'll figure it out if they have any issues or problems with it this year. Man, I tell you, Kyle Chaney just came out here with a plan this year. And, the way things are looking right now, I don't want to say this because I don't want to offend anybody else in the class, but unless somebody steps up, Chaney looks like he can roll uncontested unless he has a mechanical of some sorts, because when you can come, and the reason I say that is because this is some pretty tight, some pretty tough stuff to drive in. But we got to also point out, it's a whole different racetrack. These guys might be struggling. We see the cars dragging down, the horsepower is being robbed out of them. So when we get back to the woods, it will tighten back up, I think.
Well, and Chaney, he's shrewd. That's why he's a champion. He knows what he's doing. He went out and walked the track yesterday. Then he walked it again this morning after the 10 a.m. race and went back and made some adjustments to his car. So just because everybody thought they were doing their due diligence by walking the track yesterday, our champion went the extra mile, and maybe that extra setup is helping him. We did have a race going on earlier today with Tim Farr. Tim Farr actually led the first lap, was chasing after Kyle Chaney on the second lap, and then fell off the pace. He came around and was in like 4th or 5th, and now he's just disappeared altogether. So that says that somebody was running with Chaney, and then there was an issue. There was a problem somewhere, and Tim ended up falling off the pace. And we got guys like Cody Miller, who's coming from a row or two behind and making up time, and he got into second place on adjusted time, and now he's actually in physical second place. We had Bill, who threw down a really fast lap time. So there are some guys out here that are going to run, but Kyle Chaney has just put together a race today, and he's doing what champions do, and he knows what it's going to take, and he's put his head down, he's done his homework, and it looks like this race is going to be his today. And I certainly don't want to jinx him by calling the race before the checker flag flows, but real proud of what he's been able to accomplish today at this race here in Palatka.
No doubt. David Plomby running back in the number 3 spot again, your XC2 Pro Sport class leader. Jason Luberg, who is 3rd in the XC1 Pro, is running 4th overall right now. Cole Secoy, also an XC1 Pro, is 5th overall. Jamie McCoy, the number 70 out of Kingsport, Tennessee, XC1, is running in the number 6 spot. 7th place, Kevin Trantham in the 20 car. 8th spot, John Yoakley, the number 11 car. 9th place is Michael Swift in the 21 car. Joe Kreslitz rounds out your top, or Michael Swift in 9th, and then Joe Kreslitz rounds out your top 10.
Well, there we got word in from race control that Tim Farr, they heard us talking about Tim Farr, and came over and said Tim Farr is broke down, as we suspected. He's right out here. We probably could see him from the announcer's tower, but just didn't know where to look. And that's bad luck for Tim Farr because he was really putting on a good drive today.
Yeah, he was. He started out very strong. And, man, speaking of strong, did you just see Caleb Russell walk by? That right there, that guy is one big muscle going by there, man. I mean, he is solid muscle.
He cut his hair and everything. He's been working.
Shoot, man, I tell you, I've never seen Caleb Russell. I've seen him physically fit and look good. Never looked this cut, and never anywhere close at this time of the year in the early part. Look at this. We are bottomed out. We are high-sided, whatever you want to call that. That guy's wheels aren't touching the ground, Chuck.
No, and he's got some help from some friends. But when you try to unstick 1,400 pounds plus the mud that's on that car, it's going to take more than 2 people.
It's going to take maybe
a winch.
Wow, what a heartbreaker there. All 4 wheels are even turning, and there goes the 70 car around right now. That's Jamie McCoy. Who is the car that's stuck?
Oh, Jamie's trying to find a creative line, and that's what happens in GNCC racing, and it happens with dirt bikes, ATVs, everything. You've got to go around the obstacle in UTV racing. That obstacle often tends to be another car.
Mercy sakes alive. Was that Trantham maybe getting by there, or did
Yeah, okay.
Now, see, we had a car break down in that same place. He's been there since before the first lap was even over. I'm sure that's taken away one possible line.
Yeah,
now might be getting a train stacked up there.
Yes, we got, trying to see which car this is. That might be Cody Moore. Is that Colton?
Hey, let's see how this new YXZ goes into reverse.
I believe Colton Moore might be one of the right drivers that's broke down out there right now, and that's a heartbreaker. Colton is a freestyle. Yeah, that's him. I can see by the hair. That's Colton. See the hair, the Rockstar Energy. He is a FMX, a ATV freestyle. He's one of the few guys in the world that I have ever seen backflip an ATV. He's also, you might remember his brother Caleb. They were X-Game gold medalists. They actually did a tandem backflip on a snowmobile at X-Game competition, if memory serves me corrected, during Winter X Games. And that's him right there. And, man, he just released a book. They wrote a book. I can't quite remember the name of it right off the top of my head, but do a search on this kid's name, this young man's name. He's got a brand new autobiography. It talks about his brother and the life that they led leading up to get to where they are.
Really?
Just an amazing read. It really is. I can't remember the name. I'll get the name of it, but it is certainly definitely worth reading and checking up on. But Colton Moore is who we're talking about there. So Google it, and you'll find it, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, that's pretty interesting. That's certainly something that I'll have to go home and do, because it's really cool to see X Games competitors come out here to the GNCC world and do their best. Unfortunately, I hate that he broke down on the first lap, but
yeah, look at this.
He's not the only one,
Right.
as he can see right there in front of his very eyes.
Yep. Well, it looks like some carnage has been cleared out here of this shot, I believe, as we are now under 3 minutes before a checker flag should be flying, and
we got our RacerTV crew out there, so anytime you're a racer and you see the crew setting up, you know, the leader's right behind me. I better be ready to get over.
Yeah, that's a good indication. I guess you figured that out in your days of racing, huh?
Yeah, unfortunately, running amateur in the afternoon class, you figure out what those TV guys are actually for. That's the blue flag. That's the Supercross blue flag right there.
Hey, we're an hour and 6 minutes into this race now, our scheduled hour-long race. So I think, obviously, this race has certainly been a little longer than they anticipated. We're seeing lap times that were in the 12-minute ranges, as much as 15 minutes out there, and 16 minutes in some cases. It was 13:13 for Cheney last time around, and I got the venture to think that maybe he might have slowed down this time because of all the lap traffic and all the obstacles that have been created out there. We're witnessing it firsthand right here before our very eyes.
Well, talking with the drivers on the line as we're killing some time, waiting for the race to get going, with 86 cars, it's and a 5-mile track, there's going to be a lot of lap traffic, and so what can we do to lengthen the track? But when you see this many cars breaking down, it's hard to tow them.
Yeah,
you have to tow them a long distance.
So we're less than a minute less than a minute now from expected ETA of.
Yeah, I see Ricky over there getting the checkered flag out, getting it dusted off, ready to wave it. So
It's like the quiet before the storm.
It really is.
There's really not a lot going on in the woods just prior to this. Yeah, it's just like silence as. Now you can hear some stuff way, way off in the distance, but all this mayhem and madness we were hearing right beside it.
The way around that the UTV that's stuck across high side in the ruts there, he is definitely in the good line, because you see the UTVs trying to go around him. It's a rough ride going through tractor ruts, it looks like.
Yeah, those guys getting around him got their work cut out trying to make that happen. But now
having to back up and wiggle through the trees. And
an hour and 8 minutes now into this. Is Cheney going to be able? Here comes somebody. Here comes somebody. I don't know that that's Cheney, but somebody's coming through this last little section of the racetrack, and that is not Cheney. And I don't venture to say that that is a leader by no stretch of the imagination. He kept
he kind of came from an unusual way.
Yeah, that was actually John Barnes out of Ashland City, Tennessee. I believe just checked in there last. The 8 car, so he seems to be struggling. He had a pretty good
We
year
don't
last
see any
year.
TVs on, or cameras on the shoulders yet, so.
Well, that's the NBC guys, the MSNBC guys, so they might not be anticipating his arrival anytime real soon. But he's late according to timing and scoring right now. We're 30 seconds late, and that begins to bode well for Cody Miller if he's able to keep things rolling in the fashion that he was keeping them rolling in there at the end of lap 4 as we headed into the 5th and final lap of today's race. Approaching now a minute behind. Now, Chuck, what are you thinking?
Oh man, I'm thinking I wish I hadn't said anything.
You feel like you're to blame for this?
Oh boy, I'll never hear the end of it.
No, you won't. Well, here comes somebody else through quietly. I don't know that that's Cheney. Is that Cheney? I don't think.
Nope, that's
Still
not Cheney.
Here comes a loud one. We're well over a minute, and this could put Cody Miller in a very challenging position. Here comes 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars now. They're making their way. Must have been a bottleneck out there somewhere. And
picking their way through the trees here.
We hear the,
I hear an XC1 horn blowing, saying get out of the way.
Also. And we're waiting for that checker to fly. Have you seen Ricky wave anything yet? No signs.
We are waiting.
Well, you can hear those horns.
I'm hearing a horn.
Those horns are indicating that XC1 Pro class riders or XC2 drivers are coming up behind you, and for lap traffic, that's a signal to get the heck out of the way. Ricky put the white flag away, so that must mean that we have
a winner
coming. Now, whether or not it's going to be Kyle Cheney or, wait a minute, Cody Miller's already in. According to timing and scoring, Cody Miller just snuck through on the 422 car, so that's why he puts the checker flag away, or the white flag away, and we have a whole new race leader at the end of this one. And according to timing and scoring, we have a new winner, unless we missed Cheney, and I don't think that we did, so there you go.
Wow,
you're never going to hear the end of that one, Chuck.
Nope, we're real proud of him, bragging on him. This is his race. Be smart, but things happen.
That's another point to be proven in the world of off-road racing. You can never count those chickens before those eggs hatch.
That's right.
I mean, you got to wait, and we just saw one hatch, and that was Cody Miller. We saw that one. We saw him pecking his way through. We knew he was coming, but
we did.
We didn't know what.
And to be honest with you, Rodney, this is another one of those guys that I don't know much about.
Well, I think I have a feeling that Greenville, Texas's Cody Miller is going to be somebody we're getting more acquainted with. If I'm not mistaken, I think that Cody may be someone that I'm already acquainted with. I don't want to overstep any boundaries yet, but we'll know more when we get there on the podium in just a few moments. But I think Cody's got some background in the world of ATV racing.
I imagine he does. If he can drive a car that good, he's got some experience from somewhere.
I think he comes from the ATV motocross world, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong if that's the same guy I'm thinking about. We got David Plavy waiting on him as well. I mean, this is a good sign for David to see Cheney so far behind. Still no sign of Cheney. Here comes spotty through this last section of woods. It's maybe going to be second. We got, look at that, Bolton, and, or is that Jeff Russell maybe pulling that guy out right there?
Yeah. We're seeing flashes of yellow.
Yeah, that's Jeff Russell out there. And that might have been him right there.
No.
No?
I don't think so.
That ain't the one car, is it?
No.
Wow.
Oh, boy. Well, folks, it is 6 o'clock right now, and that means that it's youth are starting to gather under the Team Faith tent. I'm going to hand the headset over to Megawatt Matt Watson. He's going to close the show out for me and do the podium interviews here in just a little bit. Matt, I certainly appreciate you filling in. I'm going to go over to the Team Faith truck and also remind everybody that we will be having chapel service in about an hour over the Team Faith truck, and then hopefully get to watch some Supercross there shortly thereafter.
Sounds like a plan, Chuck. Looking forward to chapel services here on this Saturday evening. There's R.P. Wilson, Ronnie Paul Wilson, Jeff Russell. Both, they're hooking tandem right now, trying to pull this bad boy in. David Plavy is checked in the number 2 spot. Jason Luberg checks in the number 3 spot. So welcome back to the, I think it might be career first. Well, Plavy, I think, might have made the overall podium in a second or third place in the past. We'll have to double check with him, but we might have a fresh look to the podium here in the side-by-side the UTV racing this year. Cody Miller, David Plavy, Jason Luberg going to be heading over to the podium where they're going to be talking with my good buddy and yours, Mr. Megawatt Matt Watson. And I've already determined after this day I want his job. He says that's a first. Well, that means to tell you I've had a rough day today, mister. Yeah. So, wow. What a what a week so far. But it's been a great day of racing, and some folks have well found out the hard way that Florida sands are tough to run in, while others found if you bide your time and play your cards right, you can all pay off in the end. Cody Miller, David Plavy, Jason Luberg are just 3 that find that out for themselves. We'll be over to meet with them and talk to our new faces in the podiums at UTV and GNCC Racing when we return with GNCC Live.
Maxxis Tires.
Daytona International Speedway is synonymous with four-wheeled action, but getting airborne on 4 wheels, well, that's a new experience. Come check it out on Tuesday afternoon with the 2nd annual Fly Racing ATV Supercross right here at Daytona International Speedway. Come watch high flyers like defending series champion Chad Wienen, challengers like Joel Hetrick, Thomas Brown, and Jeff Rastrelli, and last year's Supercross winner John Natale this Tuesday right here at Daytona.
CST Tires.
I've been with Liat for a lot of years, and I know the dedication they have for safety. When they told me they were coming out with a helmet, I signed right up.
And welcome back to GNCC Live as things are wrapping up here as we see today's race lasting an hour and 8 minutes and 42 seconds for your first-time winner in GNCC UTV racing action. We're talking about the 422 car of none other than Cody Miller. David Plavy, the 555 car, will finish up in the number 2 spot. Jason Luberg in 3rd. Checking in the number 4 spot will be Jamie McCoy riding in the number 70 car. Michael Swift will round out the top 5 in the 21 car out of Lewisburg, Tennessee. Jerry Bowling, the 321 car, then is your 6th place position finisher out of Bowling Green, Kentucky. And waiting for 7th and still watching out here on the trail, trying to see these guys get this thing unstuck. I just have a feeling they've got a plan that's going to work for them here pretty soon. This is a spectator sport. I think this is as much a spectator sport as the actual racing sometimes. watching these guys unhook. But I'd say, talk about unhooked. I think that they're going to come unhooked on the podium here in just a moment when they begin their celebrations here in just a few moments. Like we said, new faces, big smiles, and I'm sure lots of excitement making its way over to the box right now as we speak. Look at that, they got it. If you're watching on RacerTV.com, Jeff Russell just used his grit and ingenuity and determination to get that thing finally unstuck. I imagine that there will be several more cars being stuck there. We've seen a couple getting stuck there in those woods. Well, Jeff's not even going to put his tow rope away, I don't think, at this point. Well, all I can tell you is, UTV guys, if you want to get your podium celebrations, you need to be heading on over to the podium right now, as we'll begin those coming up here in just a moment. I want to send a shout out to everybody that made their way out here today, and those of you folks listening along the World Wide Web at RacerTV.com. Glad that you could be a part of this first round of GNCC racing, and what a day. It has certainly been a day. Walker Ballard taking the XC1 Pro win. Second place, phenomenal ride by the young gun of Bryson Neal, and your third place finish went to Chris Boar, who had a chance to talk with him, and honestly, Chris was getting faster, I think, as the day wrapped up or was progressing, and he was getting faster. And man, you just got to wonder if he'd have found that speed earlier on in the race, what the day could have told a little different. We'll see, though. We're less than a week away. Next Saturday, we'll be back at it with more of our XC1 and XC2 guys in the ATV round. Also tomorrow, we will be broadcasting live the motorcycle coverage from right here at Palatka and the Wild Boar GNCC motorcycle version. Monday, we'll be heading over to the Ricky Carmichael Amateur Supercross. We'll be broadcasting, I believe, somewhere in the neighborhood of 11 o'clock or 12 noon somewhere. And then on maybe a little bit 12:30, they're telling me now. So 12:30, be looking for that. And then on Tuesday for the ATV Supercross, we'll be live once again, and the time on that is going to be somewhere around noon again. So we'll have that all posted and let you know more about that when we get a little closer. But what we can say is just stay tuned to RacerTV.com for your celebration of Bike Week 2016. Well, folks, while we wait on podium presentations, we talked about all the great racing we had earlier today. We actually had some really good racing in a 10 o'clock race, a really strong contingent of riders in our 4x4 Pro class, and yet another barn burner. Check it out.
Welcome to Racer TV here, round one, the Wild Boar in Palatka, Florida. Here with our first 4x4 Pro winner of the season, Michael Swift. Mike, I tell you, seemed like a tough race out there today. A lot of shakeups going on in some of those top four positions right down to the final lap.
It was, you know, the track actually was a lot more brutal than what we thought after walking it yesterday. So that was surprising. A lot of woods, the tight stuff, you know, not so much open stuff, so you're just keeping your upper body working the whole time. I worked my way into the lead before the first lap, and I had a comfortable lead, and then I had a little foul up over here on one of the mud holes and laid it over upside down in that mud hole, and they got the other three got around me, and I tucked in behind them. We battled with Miller and Cunningham, and then I caught up to Kevin and got around Kevin Gadoo to a lapper, and I just put my head down and just kept going and tried to focus. I lost my four-wheel drive mid-race, so it made it a little rough, but you know, I persevered, and man, I can't. Repeat of last year. I can't be more happy. So,
in typical Swift fashion, man, here you take this adversity, man, turn it right around, and you know what? Your perseverance and your ability to get it done and put that head down and focus is probably second to none, Mike. And I got to tell you, it's amazing to watch these performances out of you.
Yeah, thank you very much, and man, what a great day so far.
All right, man. Hey, setting the tone for the rest of the season here early today.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be exciting. I was so excited to see, you know, different faces up there running in the top four whenever they caught up to me when I laid it over. It was exciting to see the Miller and Cunningham and, you know, new faces instead of the same old 3 or 4. So it was exciting, and what a big class. It's going to be an exciting year.
Well, it was sure exciting for us. You always make it that way, and good luck in round two.
Thank you.
Back to you, Rodney.
All right, thanks a lot, Megawatt. And I tell you, Megawatt, what a great race. Michael Swift actually finished up 5th place here in the UTV racing, and it looks like we're ready to celebrate down on the podium as we'll head on down with Megawatt Matt Watson with some new faces to the podium.
Cody Miller, make some noise for him out there. A hard-fought race today, making some moves late in the race. Cody Miller making it happen. 2nd place today, David Plavy. We're waiting on him. And in our 3rd position, Jason Luberg having a heck of a race today for sure.
This is Josh. Can I go ahead and shut my camera down? All right, buddy.
Getting our final car up here right now, Rodney.
That's 4.
Careful with that number plate. All right, and that rounds out our podium right now. 2nd place, David Plavy. We're going to make our way over here to 3rd place right now. Hey, Ken Hill, do we need to get everybody together for a class photo? Where's Ken at? There's Ken. Let's get everybody right over here in the middle for a class photo here. Get our podium photos taken care of, and we're going to find out a little bit about what happened out there on the track today in this UTV race. So amazing change of events, man. Really, we got the first XP1000 ever to be on the podium. Great, fantastic. Good plug for those guys today, that's for sure, man. Definitely. How about that, man? First 1,000 ever on the podium. Awesome. Let Ken get finished up here. We'll get underway. Want to remind everybody, dinner going on over at the Moose trailer right now. Dinner going on. And we're going to have Supercross viewing later this evening. Going to have Supercross up on the big screen over here by RacerTV and Moose. So if you guys want to watch Supercross action from Daytona, we're going to have that broadcasted for you here in just a little bit. All right, as soon as Ken Hill gives me the go-ahead, we're going to get underway.
Hey, Bryce, can I turn down the...
All right, looks like we're ready to go. We're going to talk to 3rd place, Jason Luberg first. If you guys excuse me 1 second, I'm going to step right over here, try not to fall off of this thing. Jason, man, you had this big smile on your face when you pulled in over here. You know, we were talking about the dirt in your eyes and talking about sometimes using Q-tips to clean them eyes out, man. Tell me exactly how you're feeling right now, what the vision's like, what the eyes feel like, how stressed they are.
Oh, my skin's going to be fresh. All this sand wearing my skin off. But, yeah, I need a shower bad. I feel good, though. It was worth it. Everything's worth it.
Right on. Hey, tell me a little bit about that course out there today, man. Tell me where were the moves being made?
The muddy spots were a lot of passing. Everything else, everybody's, hammered down. But the mud spots seem to be the passing because there's so many lines. So.
Well, I know one thing. You guys gave us an amazing race to watch, so totally entertaining. And you got to be pleased, round 1 up here, getting some points on the podium and headed for round 2 in good shape.
Yeah, it was fun. My sister did a great job, co-pilot. I couldn't have done it without her.
Awesome. That's good to hear. And I know that you have a whole bunch of help that you want to thank for getting up here today.
Yeah, Bikeman and Kicker, GBC, Pro Armor, Crash Addict, Demon, DWT, and Bully Dog.
Awesome. Well, I know one thing. All those guys are super proud of you. Everybody had a great time watching your race, and congratulations on 3rd place today.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Right on. Hey, we're going to make our way over here to 2nd place now. David Plavy. David, I want to tell you something. It looked like it was absolutely brutal out there. You had some major contenders up there, extremely tough competition. Tell me about your race.
It was a good race for us. We got the whole shot on our row. We actually started all the way back on the 7th row because we're in XC2. And we just kind of charged through the field and try to pick good lines, make good decisions, and work our way up.
And you absolutely did. Pastor Chuck, man, Chuck LeMaster's had his eye on you guys the whole time, talking about the guys moving, and your name kept coming up. You guys put a charge on. You had some good lines out there, obviously, and here the end result is 2nd place today.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I had no idea that we actually caught up that far. I figured I was maybe leading the class, but I had no idea that we were going to podium.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to you on that. I know that you had a lot of help getting up here, and there's some people you want to thank for their help in getting you put up here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be up here if it wasn't for Can-Am. They stepped up a lot for us this year, helped us out a lot. Wicked Built, they've been behind us for 2 years now with like Can-Am. GBC tires, they're working great today. OMF wheels, they're solid, can't beat them. VP Race Fuels, tire blocks, and PR2. My suspension was just awesome today for it because we're only allowed to, we can't really do much with them, so a little bit of modifications by them goes a long way. So, and then Trinity Racing.
Right on. I know all those people are super pumped that you're up here. I know all those people are really proud of you. You've got to be pleased, man. Sitting pretty going into your next round, so congratulations on second place today.
Yeah, thanks again. And I want to definitely thank Pat McGuire and Belinda McGuire, too, for helping us out because they hired me on the team. And without them, I wouldn't be up here.
Right on. Congratulations. Make some noise for David Plavy in the Can-Am in second place today. All right, and then over here into the middle, Cody Miller, man. Cody, you had a grin from ear to ear when I come up to you over there. Let me tell you something. Did you imagine on lap 2 to 3 what this thing was going to turn out like and how tough it was going to be to get up here on this podium?
Honestly, I had no idea. I mean, that track deteriorated so bad, especially in the mud. Like, you know, I was in practice walking the track. I was like, oh, I'm just going to nail it through here. Surely we'll make it. And we watched a couple of the quads hitting this one water hole over there. But the first lap I went around this thing, the whole hood went underwater. And I was like, what? You know, I was instantly soaked, hands, goggles, water behind the tear-offs. You know, it was terrible. But, you know, Cody kept pointing out good lines, and we just kept the freaking wood to it the whole time. And this Maverick was tough. You know, this Maverick held on strong. Yeah. Yeah. I'm Cody Miller. That's Cody Taylor. Yeah, but anyway, this Maverick, man, we got some Holes Racing products on here, really got our center of gravity down. S3 Power Sports, you know, they hooked us up with some A-arms and stuff that really made this thing hold together. I mean, I hit some stumps out there that should have just ripped the front end off. But the gussets and stuff that S3 made, I mean, they held together. And the Elka shocks, I was just, you know, everybody's checking up through those whoops and stuff, and I was just wide open. The faster I'd go, the smoother it was. It was perfect. It was perfect.
Well, I tell you, you answered my next couple questions about the car in advance. So I know one thing, the thing sounded brutal coming by. It sounded like it was really on note. And I know that a lot of people helped you get this thing ready and were involved with that. Who do you want to thank, man, for getting the win here today?
Yeah, that HMF exhaust sounds nasty. I mean, it had everybody's brains rattling out there. But Evolution Power Sports put a program in this thing. You know, it's all stock. I mean, it's got a pipe and a programmer. And I got the whole shot, and it flew. You know, I passed so many cars in the straightaway. It was unbelievable. You know, the Maxxis tires had enough traction. I was able to carve every corner where I wanted it, and God forbid I made it through the mud bogs. So, you know, between them and the beard seats, I was comfortable. The Hausers worked a lot with us this year, and we've come up with this cage, and these cars are stout now. You know, the car's really rigid, and the center of gravity's down. You know, it's working really, really well, you know. The DP brakes that kept this thing stopping. It's as important to stop as it is to go. DWT tires and wheels, DWT tires, you know, we hit a lot of hard stuff out there, and I never had a tire pop off the bead. You know, tire balls, if I hadn't been for tire balls, obviously, I'd have been in a world of trouble. But those Maxxis tires were definitely hooked up, and the car worked great. Thank you to all my sponsors. I think I mentioned them all, but there's a couple I'm sure I missed out on, and, you know, we're just really appreciative. We're glad to be up here.
Well, we're glad you're up here, too, man. Love to see you up here. Love to see that smiling face. Now it's time to give these guys a champagne spray. Congratulations on that win today, and good luck moving into round 2.
Thank you so much.
No reason not to spray, y'all. You're not.
All right, Rodney, there you have it, buddy.
Yeah, that right there. That's what they're looking for. Congratulations to you, Cody. Welcome to the podium as well. And thanks also to, or congratulations to Jason Luberg. Welcome back to the racing scene, brother. And also David Plavy, welcome back to some podium contention there, buddy. That's some pretty good stuff. A great opening round of UTV racing, and maybe one that left a lot of people surprised. But you know what? That means that we got a surprise that still lies ahead for 2016. What's the next one going to be? Well, make sure you join us again to find out with UTV Racing live from the Big Buck GNCC at round 4. Now, if you're wondering about the rest of it, we'll be back here again tomorrow with two-wheel racing action at about 1 o'clock as GNCC two-wheelers will go to it. Caleb Russell defending that number 1 plate Monday, we're at the Ricky Carmichael Amateur Supercross. And Tuesday, it's ATV Supercross by Fly. RacerTV is live here at Daytona Bike Week, and we welcome each and every one of you folks aboard, and we hope that you enjoy the ride with us this week. On behalf of all the folks that helped us here today, the great crew that we've got assembled here in 2016, all the camera operators, the behind-the-scene guys, our IT guys, our director and support guys, we appreciate all the wonderful work you've done. And on behalf of Megawatt Matt Watson and also Mr. Chuck LeMaster, I'm Rodney Tomlin. Have a great day, everybody.